some fun, and we like to bring interesting speakers like we have tonight. Brian Altomare from Lugless, who's recently back from being on Shark Tank last month. And then second half of the meeting, we will also have what we call pitching panel, which, as I joke, is our Shark Tank without the theatrics and the money. So we operate the club on behalf of the Inventors, but we do have some professional members who are supporting the club and are here as advocates for you. And I'd like to introduce a few of those. First of all, our host, Louis Del Judas from Troutman Sanders. You want to say anything, Louis?
I'm a patent attorney, been doing it for 15 years. I'm a mechanical electrical guy, some searching and all that other stuff. I'm around, answer some questions, give you some advice, set you in the right direction. Always willing to help an independent inventor. We may not be the right size firm for you, but I can point you in the right direction. I can give you some DIY tips, and maybe we can do something. If not, we can find somebody else. There's plenty of other members that do this too. So,
thank you, Louis. Also with us tonight we have Josh and Josh from Nussbaum Yates, and they are CPAs, and we want to thank them also for inviting Brian on our behalf. So please, Josh.
My name is Josh Dubrow. I'm a CPA with Nussbaum Yates, Berkline, and Walpow. You don't remember all those names, but we're about a 50-person firm. We're a full-service accounting firm, but the core of our practice is entrepreneurial businesses, all sizes, from startups all the way up to billion-dollar companies. And we're not just accountants; we're advisors. We know how to help businesses grow, and we have the expertise, the experience, and the resources to do that. And we have very flexible, fee arrangements, and we're always willing to help. If there's just a question, email, call, feel free. So,
thank you, Gordon.
Hi, my name is Gordon Randall Perry. I'm an industrial designer, and my practice is here in New York City, right down in Greenwich Village, so I welcome any of you to get in touch with me. Basically what I do is I work with people like yourself to develop your product, to make it look better, human factors engineering, so we can go from initial ideas, which a lot of people just bring me ideas on, not even on paper, to get it to the point where it's ready to be manufactured. So we go through the whole process, and we're a small firm, and I work with you guys. I understand that money is tight, so we give breaks when we can, and we're interested in working with this community, so I encourage you to give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Also, I want to thank Steve. We don't thank him enough. Steve's our videographer in the back, and he's been doing it for quite a while for us, and he's always on time and does a great job. Thank you, Steve. And also, I've been reminded my company, MCI Products Group, is also a sponsor, and we are assisting inventors and larger companies with new product development and manufacturing, which in essence means we help you plan, patent, prototype, and produce your products. And hopefully the fifth P, which I didn't say, is profit. So thank you all for coming. With that, I want to introduce Brian Altamari. I was introduced to Brian through Josh last month, and one thing led to another, and boom, here you are. I think Brian is a great story. I don't want to take anything away from what he has to say, other than the fact that as inventors, we always are looking to move ourselves forward, and that means persistence and persevering through no. And I think through some of what you're going to hear from Brian tonight, which I found very inspirational, learning to learn from no, or learning to just keep moving forward, is a big lesson for all of us as inventors. So with that, I would like to introduce Brian.
Running this company from scratch again after being on the Shark Tank show, so a little preoccupied with the day-to-day of the operation, but obviously I wanted to come here and speak and see if my story could help, and at least gain some insight into whatever your product and services are, and also tell a little bit about myself, my story, my companies, Lugless, and a few others that are part of it, and then from there, feel free to ask any questions. Obviously we'll go into the Shark Tank experience if anyone's interested in that. Definitely fascinating experience for anyone to get a chance to do that. And then other than that, yeah, I guess open it up for questions. So, to start, it's a quote that I think defines just my career so far that I got from college and I still use all the time. It's from Shakespeare. It's, "Our doubts are traitors and makes us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt." And simply, obviously, that just means just don't give up and, by not, no venture gained, nothing lost. So for me, that's really defined my career. I had no business going into business. From college, I was an English literature major, theater, arts. I wanted to be an English teacher. So after college, graduated and I moved to Prague. I got my TEFL certificate there, and I taught for about 8 months. And from there, I kind of had some friends that were back in Florida that were trying to get into business, and they had an idea for some patented face cream that we were going to go in a joint venture with. So I flew back, decided maybe this is our time to come back. And we tried it for about 2 months, and things obviously did not work like we thought. So we randomly came up with a company through someone we met hanging out in Florida. That was an internet marketing company right when Google was going public. It was personalinjurylawoffices.com. All we did was sell exclusive listings on Google for car accident keywords, personal injury lawyers, and it was just a way to sell exclusive listings to law firms that wanted to be on the second page of Google. And we were able to charge high fees for certain counties like LA, $15,000 a year, to be 2 clicks off Google to get their law firm to come up exclusively on our site. So we did that for about, well, I did it for about 6 months with them. We grew the company about 600,000, and then I wanted to take it a different route. I wanted to make it a portal for law firms to be able to get leads as opposed to just sell the advertising, because I learned that after the major counties were sold in the US, it was pretty hard to sell the smaller ones. And then obviously our advertising budget stayed the same, so we had to cut keywords, and then it became one of those kind of bait and switch operations, and I just wasn't comfortable, and I just didn't see that being what I wanted to do. So I decided to leave and went back and actually taught English again. I went to Taiwan, and I taught there for a couple months, and I used the money that I made from there to travel to China and in Tibet. And while I was in Tibet, I don't know, I guess I just had an experience that I felt like I now could enter the world again of business. So I came back and I had an idea to do college shipping. It was the first national college shipping company that helped any student at any school get their items from their home prior to their freshman year and send it to their school ahead of time. Obviously off the ground, that's impossible to start with logistics. So I partnered with a public company that was able to provide the infrastructure, like the idea. They already did other services that were logistical, so it just was a natural fit for them. So from there, we did that for about 2 to 3 years, and then that public company, we had some notoriety with it. We had some really great stuff happen. We had a college music tour that was pretty popular. Hinder Papa Roach went around the country to promote the service, but it had a lot of money attached to it, so we got meetings with schools. We were able to get contracts. It was it was fun, but the public company went under, so I was left basically with no company. So what happened was I put personal debt onto my card because I was trying to save the company best I could. Didn't work, so I had to regroup, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I actually just had shoulder surgery on my right arm, so I was in a sling. My office I had to clear out, and I was evicted from my apartment in New York City, and I went to, obviously the next logical place would be a cabin in the woods in Pennsylvania. My mom passed it down to me and my brother. So my great-grandfather built it in the 50s. So I had a place to stay, rent-free, had no car, had about $1,400 left. I had my aunt come every 2 weeks to get me food, and then I would basically just hang around, and then I got a job as a dishwasher at a local camp through my neighbors. And from there I was able to get a car again. So then from there I got another job in town near Milford, PA, was a sales associate for a sales magazine. And then from there, I went to work in a Relais Chateau as a captain to fine dining, French food. So I did that, and all of that kind of led to, during that time, I always was thinking, not the first year, I kind of went off the grid the first year and I gave up on everything. I was pretty down and out. I don't know if anyone else would be, but I was trying to figure out what next to do. I randomly had a friend of a friend. I pitched him the idea of knowing a luggage company that we could just not create the logistics. We could brand this company, at the time it was called Mad Travelers, and we could use their infrastructure and just get 15% off of the sales, and we would market it on social media because we were so smart and we could figure it out. That didn't work. So we tried. I think we got the check the first month, $250. After $10,000 investment, I got my friend, now a business partner, to invest in the company to help build this great website that's kind of a part of this, but it's not the same one. Kind of restructured it. And then after we realized that this wasn't working, I coincidentally, I'm a good guy to stay in touch with people, so I had this company called Box My Dorm, one of the largest college storage companies in the country. I don't know how, I guess I got them to, I convinced them to sell their company to mad travelers and partner and create a lifestyle logistics company that was it was bigger than just college storage. And then once we did that, we aligned. They had programmers, they had a lot of experience in logistics, and they kind of said to me, why don't we just do the luggage ourselves? I said, okay, great, but the name Mad Travelers doesn't seem like it's going to work, so we came up with the name Lugless, and we just skinned the website, we changed it, and we created Mad Travelers to be the parent company, which was now, its official slogan is a boutique logistics firm. And inside that, we have 4 consumer-facing brands that are public, 5 one coming out soon to make it 5. So Box My Dorm was started in 2005, and it's generated each year probably close to $300,000 to $400,000. And at the same time of doing Box My Dorm and the guys from Box My Dorm deciding that we wanted to take luggage under our umbrella, we created a company called Ship to School, which was a restart of my college shipping company, Manpackers, that I had, but I thought it was still a great idea if we could just maybe make it a little simpler. So shiptoschool.com. So now we had these 2 seasonal businesses, and then we had Lugless really just on the back burner since 2009, not doing anything. And then from there, we convinced a guy in Philadelphia who had another college storage company to invest in Mad Travelers and the future concept for Lugless and the other storage and shipping companies in the college space. So we were able to generate or get through him a $100,000 investment, promissory note, and then another $100,000 after the first year where we were showing growth but we weren't self-sustaining yet. So he then took a larger part of the company for a second $100,000, which to this day is still a partner in this. And from there, the companies all existed, made good revenue, but Lugless really wasn't full-time, so we made an effort in 2011 to start, end of 2011, to really promote Lugless, and we made it full-time. We put all the money that we got from Box My Dorm and Ship to School for this investor into building Lugless. We've had offices from Hoboken home apartments to different home apartments in New York City, and some office space that we eventually got into in Greenpoint, Brooklyn for the company. But the story with Lugless is that all we did to build it in the beginning was a $100 Google AdWord budget, and over 5 to 6 months of running it full time out of our apartment in down on Gold Street at this point, we're able to generate it to be $30,000 a month in revenue company. And around that same time, when we had 5 or 6 different pieces of press hit the wire for us through my efforts and a lot of my friends that were helping for free, we got a lot of press in a short amount of time, and that was around the same time that someone contacted me from Shark Tank, left 3 messages every week, didn't leave a number, just said, Ian from Shark Tank, want to talk, and eventually we got him on the phone when I was handling customer service with everyone in that apartment office, and I just pitched them for 15 minutes on our story, what we envisioned to be the future of it, my personal story of surviving after a lot of those things that I just talked about, negatively impacted my confidence and being able to get back into the entrepreneur game, and they liked it. So from there, it was a 7-month process. It started pretty easy, where they just wanted you to fill out a 45-page document that took a better part of a week. And then you had to do a 5-minute video with no edits and no one really helping you. So I had to set up a camera, and I would just do cut after cut after cut, and I just edited it best I could without making it look like an edit. And I sent that in, and the producer said it was great, we think it's perfect. And then from there, it was a waiting game for a couple more months. And then eventually, they said we were a semi-finalist. And then from there, it didn't mean anything. They said it could always be canceled. Then we were a finalist. And they said, that still doesn't mean anything. And then they flew us out, and they said, it still doesn't mean you're going to air, because half the people there that go. I think it was 30,000 applicants last year, 144 get asked to tape in Culver City, and out of that, 96 air. So it was really an interesting experience to kind of have that always in the back of your head when you put so much into this, thinking that it's going to build your business and it's going to save your business, but everything else you've done isn't working. It's kind of a Hail Mary, but in this regards, it's been a pretty good Hail Mary payout so far. We're seeing some really good growth. We've started the operation back up again. At one point we had 4 to 5 employees. It's just me. I'm holding this front up as long as I can till we get double the sales this month, and we can get an office back. It's going to be up in Pennsylvania this time, in a small little town where I used to work. Keep the costs down, pay me half the salary that I should get in New York to keep the business going, and I can obviously pay people a lot less for customer service. So that's the hope for the Lugless journey. But I think I've just rambled a lot. Do you want to put me on target, Bruce?
Well, nothing to put you on target, but it's a great story. I mean, I don't know if everyone else is feeling like, oh my God, from Tibet to the mountains of Pennsylvania. But what, I mentioned about passion and persisting, but was there a lesson you learned that, at this point you can stand up here and spout, tell the audience something?
I mean, I would say I'm not the smartest guy ever in the room, and I think that's something that is important for me to know, because sometimes I think you get intimidated if you don't have all the facts. I mean, I'm not business oriented, so I have the partners I've been able to bring together to talk to the business lingo that needs to be done in certain investment meetings and in certain forums. But for me, it's really just my persistence of really not giving up. And for me, I just see what we're doing with Lugless or any of the other services. They all could be the same company, because they eventually probably will. It's just changing the way people travel and making it a lot easier. So for me, the passion behind it is I think I'm doing something really good. It might not be creating any new technology. Maybe our back end is the technology, but everything else we're just plugging into existing platforms and we're making it better than what it currently is. We're taking UPS, FedEx, DHL, and local courier networks, putting them together in a package in a way that sounds different and is different, and pricing it different, and obviously providing a level of service. So for me, it really is just that I failed a lot, and I may fail again, and this may not work. This may be just a great resume builder for what we're doing. But I've been at it 12 years, and I've been able to build multiple companies, to certain levels, and sustain them to some degree until obviously they can't be sustained. And I think a lot of that is some of the businesses I've been in, especially in the logistics space, is it's hard. It's harder than I think people realize to create something where there's so many moving parts. It's not just a product I can put on the table and have you buy. That's kind of the interesting thing with Shark Tank is I don't think we saw the huge results that everyone else did that first week. I think the guy made $400,000 on the revenue on the mail order meat product. It was interesting because ours takes weeks and months, and now we're seeing people mention more this week. It's only Monday, but did more this week than 2 weeks ago about the Shark Tank show. So it's kind of cool that it's having a residual effect, and hopefully we can keep that going, and at the same time make these partnerships that we're working on.
I guess people can buy meat anytime, but if they're not having a trip coming up, it doesn't matter if you're on the show every week.
Exactly. And for us, we did a pre-order. We thought that was cool. Pre-booking, it was 40% off. Still didn't really work. So I think for us, it's you're not in the mindset of traveling, and I think that's the function of just our business model, which definitely is hard to attract you right away, especially when you come to the site and you're not planning a trip until 7 months later. It was worth it to get you there the first time, but for us to start up figuring out how to track all that, keep it organized through our own efforts or portals that we work with to help track that. So.
I'm sorry, another hand up.
When you're on the show, I assume that they didn't offer anything, or
no, our show, they on our segment they did. It's 45 minutes you tape, and they air 10. So you can imagine how much fun that was for 45 minutes. So picture me up here, picture me there, where they're in my face and they're basically discounting everything I'm saying, and you have to basically respond in a way where you got to present the best portion of yourself. But they didn't even ask, give us one bid or offer. So for us, it was just they just kept asking questions to get stuff out, and then from there, I guess they did an added job to get all that pertinent information out for the viewers.
But did you have viewers come to you because you were on the show?
Right now, a lot about, we have a little thing at the end of sign up that asks how you heard about us. About 70% right now are coming from Shark Tank, which for us is great for right now.
When are you on? Are you
May 17th, it was season finale. 8 p.m. there were two. Oh, the best part of the story is April 19th is when we were supposed to air. So I had a whole party in New York City with all my friends. I don't know, guys, remember what happened on April 19th, but 2 minutes prior to show, we're all there. I'm kind of sober at this point, and I'm just getting excited about it. And the Twitter account said, Shark Tank show has been canceled. So it was over, and I contacted the producers. No one knew it was up. They said it may never air. It may get lost forever. And we put all this effort into getting it up. So it was pretty funny, because I told my business partner who worked for a whole week, does accounting full time. I said, if this doesn't air, you can literally punch me in the face. And it really didn't air, so I had to hug her real fast.
What was April 19th?
It was the Boston Marathon.
Right.
So just bad luck, but what happened was it got us onto the season finale. They made space and put us on at 8 p.m. So I think for me, better than that season finale.
Do you have a clipping? Are you showing a clipping too?
I can show it on. I mean, we can.
Do you want-
absolutely.
Do
It's
you guys
on
want to
the-
take the time to see it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's on
let's do
either-
that.
What is this video here? Is this your video?
This is his
for-
website.
This is actually, we can watch, this is just a recap, which is, does the sound come up on this?
Let's see.
I almost got on the no-fly list for this after the show. I went to.
Shark Tank. Wow, what an amazing and terrifying experience that was. I'm the co-founder of Lugless, a revolutionary new travel service for passengers everywhere. Lugless is a door-to-door luggage shipping service that picks up your luggage from your home, office, or hotel and sends it directly to where you're going anytime. So when your trip is over, we'll pick your luggage right back up and send it on home. How awesome is that? It's fast, cheap, and easy. Just sign up in less than 5 minutes online. Schedule a pickup or drop off same day, and your luggage arrives and is waiting for you at your hotel, home, or office. We ship luggage, skis, snowboards, golf clubs, surfboards, baby seats, boxes, and much more. We ship to over 235 countries. Prices starting at $39 for a carry-on bag. So travel without the baggage on your next trip. Love us.
That was a recap I did after, basically for my last $1,000 savings. I had a guy who was, I believed in what we were doing, and our partners, we had no more money to invest. So I had him do this animation, and he wanted me to shoot in JFK. So I shot with a cameraman, and first half hour in, we got caught and basically told that I was on the no-fly list, that I couldn't fly ever again. And I was like, what more can you do, man? I looked at the guy, and I was like, I tried to shake his hand, like, thank you so much, appreciate it. Are we okay? Like, am I really on the list? He goes, look up there, the guy in the sky. So he didn't ask for my ID, so I don't think I'm on it. But from there, we then took the camera guy, who was actually more excited about this than me, because he loves all this guerrilla like stealth stuff. I was having a panic attack thinking, he's going to jail. How do I figure out that's my camera equipment? It's all me. This guy just off the street came with me. So we went all through TSA. We got all this great footage. But the guy who was editing it, it was too shaky because he had to put it in his back bag. He had to do all this kind of fun stuff to get the shots that we wanted of, baggage claim, the kiosk counter, check-in. So all that material is kind of lost except that opening segue until he said, that was all I wanted from you. Now I'm going to edit and do animation. So it's kind of funny. But if we can figure out the volume boost, I can definitely put on. It's only a few minutes.
Louis, do you have any idea? Were you able to hear that, first of all?
Yeah.
In the back of the room?
It's just inaudible.
Yeah.
Can we just do a few questions while we're waiting for the,
Sure,
the
absolutely.
volume situation? So basically, if I can ask this question,
Yeah.
you basically saw the trade-off of, I'll do all this work to get on the show. If I don't get on the show, okay, too bad, but if I do, it could be huge exposure. Do you find that everyone else who was there, that's the basic trade-off with the Shark Tank deal?
Other entrepreneurs that are basically,
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, I think that exposure is it. I think some people think they need this deal, and from what I was told from the producers and other people that have been on the show, it's sometimes better when you don't get a deal, because you have the American public and the public in general watching from all over the world that wants to root for the underdog, thinks the Sharks don't know what they're talking about. Especially with my pitch, it was definitely for the commoner and like the masses I was going for, not the elite who wanted to use luggage shipping. So they didn't really get it. But yeah, I think for the most part, for certain people, I guess, I think I'm a little different. I'm probably one of the only services that have been on. A lot of these, if you watch the show, it's all products. So they can easily throw that around and they can get on QVC, they can put it in retail. For me, what are you going to do with luggage shipping unless you can get me a big hotel contract, an airline contract, and all that? So I think for our little world of shipping, it was harder for us to even think about getting a deal because of all the moving parts. But I do think that a lot of them go on just for the exposure alone, because I think it's increasing each year, but I think it's over 6 million watch it, and obviously double, because sometimes the
Did
shows
it cost you anything other than the preparation and the time?
Cost us our life. No, it cost us 2% royalty, or no, 5% royalty, or 2% of sales for duration of this business being in existence. So for us, we've been doing this so long. This was our last Altamari. We thought about it.
Can
We
you
said,
explain
you know
the
what?
deal again?
What's up?
Meaning if they do make...
No, if I'm on. So the fact that I was on, that's 2%. Think about that business model from their show.
For
It's
how
very
long,
smart.
Brian?
I think I can read that long
Perpetuity.
contract again. I think it's just forever. So I think we're basically screwed in that regard. But for us, we see this as a larger vision. So I'm okay with 2% if we actually can make it work. If we can't, I don't care. Take 2%.
So you owe them a royalty whether they get a deal or not in exchange for the exposure that they gave you.
That's it, exactly. For the show, you're just on. You have to give that just for being on. No deal. Doesn't matter. So that's another thing a lot of people don't want to be on because they have a huge idea, and I agree with them. I was just at a different path in my life and our company.
If you had a deal, what would would you still be
Yes.
obliged to the 2% royalty?
Plus whatever
And what was
the-
the 5%?
That was royalty. So 2% for profits and 5% royalty. Either or they can choose. So depending on your product, it makes more sense to do royalty, or for us, it makes more sense for them to. So we don't have royalty capability.
So if you run it, you find people saying, yeah, give me $3 million for it right now and I'll buy you out? I mean,
Oh, for being what, on the show?
Yeah.
We've actually been approached by some really interesting investors, some definitely not on the level, but it's funny who comes out of the woodworks. But there are some people that are willing to help. Some people, like for example, they travel to Japan a lot. There's a system in Japan for $15 to send luggage anywhere. It's amazing what they do. They want to help bring that here, and they have great ideas. They're entrepreneurs. They're willing to help for free. Same with another guy who's on season 5, potentially, because he's just a semifinalist now. If he gets on, regardless if he gets on or not, he wants to help. He's got contacts at some airlines. His brother works there. He's got different ideas for our website, how to make it more responsive, how to help us create a mobile app, and all basically for nothing if we can eventually work out a deal on commission if some of these things he brings to us works. So it's been really cool so far, but I'm hoping for a large investor to come in that sees the value of what Lugless is trying to do. Not only that I preface this, but Lugless is a luggage shipping service that sends you luggage anywhere in the world, and we do it for less than FedEx, UPS, and DHL. And we also have a layer of white glove service underneath that for precise pickups should you want it. Send you a packet in the mail, which has reusable luggage tags. So you put them right in your bag and leave it outside for pickup. So it's kind of an easier FedEx and just a little bit more user-friendly.
What's the liability of someone leaving a can?
Well, that's out their door. That's up to them. It's just like FedEx or UPS. If they don't want to do that, they usually wait around for an all-day window. It's 9 to 5 or a 2-hour precise pickup, or we let them drop it off at a UPS. So it's kind of 3 options for them.
If you went on the program again, would you do anything differently?
Interesting, yeah, I think I would. I think I would have realized that it was a television show first and foremost, and they were going to ask questions based on not facts at all about business. We're trying to get you to present a certain side of yourself so they could get in there. So I think I was caught up in the whole idea of getting a deal, when in retrospect, I could care less. I wish I didn't even think about the deal option. I would have gone out there, I would probably be more arrogant because they were really over the top. A lot of things you guys won't see and I can't talk about, but they were just hitting me where I couldn't believe they were hitting my personal story. But
just
that's
to
what it
back
is.
Brian up on that, for those of you that didn't see the episode, he stayed very calm because they were like sharks. I mean, they got very intimidating. Like you see some of the episodes, and they're nice and they're friendly, and they feel bad maybe for a couple that this is their life story, and they just they saw Brian, they looked at him, they're like, okay, they just went on the
Yeah, for example, when you go on, you have to go out there and you have to stay on your mark for literally 3 minutes and stare them down. So when you think you walk out on the show, it's like, okay, great, and look them and start talking. You have to stay there. They all look at you. They were making faces at me. They were laughing at each other. They didn't mean to do it.
Wait, so you walk in and you don't start talking?
No. You stand on your mark. You have your setup that they let you do, and then you stand there like this, and then eventually the producer says go, and then you just have to go. And they've already got you in this control aspect. It's kind of, they know what they're doing. They say it's all for the camera angles. It might be, but I think it does impact you if you get a little nervous in public.
Brian, we could show the clip. I think we found the volume.
Oh,
So if you
awesome.
wanna
Yeah.
pull
So
it
go
up.
to ABC.
Yeah, let's hope. A lot of the Q&A will be more effective after this segment.
Ryan, was it hot in the studio or?
Yeah, I was sweating a little. No, they, and I wore a wool jacket, which was an awful idea. It's in the middle of summer. Yeah, they purposely make it hot, but I think I exceeded any sweat-a-thon that has ever been shown on the episode. I don't know if they only can live on their world.
More than 1 in 5 kids in America don't know where their next meal is coming from. Child Hunger Ends Here program makes it easy. Find the red push bin on specially marked packages of your favorite foods. And
Good code. Anyone hearing a little better in the back yet?
Yeah, better, thanks.
Sorry guys, I'm just trying to, I can't, it's on their site, so I'm just trying to.
whichever candidate you support.
How about the search?
I'm going, I know how to.
Technology.
Can't figure it out, Google it.
There, right here.
Yes, make sure it goes to Here I am. I'm the second one on, so you might have to just mute this and deal with the first segment of commercials, but I can fast forward. The first guy goes for 8 minutes, and then I'm on right after. Hold up. Just watch the intro. I don't know.
How long were you on?
I think airtime was a little over 10 minutes.
Did you go left?
Yeah, I think it goes.
Go on.
The following episode is presented with commercials.
Good.
Why go to JCPenney to find a gift for Father's Day? It's the only place for St. John's Day. Classic polos only $9.99. So come back to JCPenney. The easiest place ever to put the house in Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, oh, where's the mute button? Oh, there. I got it.
Got it, yeah. Because I'm gonna cut through this first segment. So those are the wonderful people.
Ryan,
Yeah, question?
Was there anything positive that you could take away from the experience that you've been able to apply to your business?
Yeah, I mean, the apply to my business, I would say, I don't think I'm there yet for the business, but I think personally it was a good milestone for me just to be up there. And
Is that a tease or is that the actual?
that's the tease. It's,
Okay.
yeah, they're just going through all of them. I'm going to fast forward to get past this guy.
Okay.
Did they grill you on the financial?
No, they did. I did great on all that. You'll see that they hit me and I got everything they wanted. They hit my personal life, and that's where I almost took the jacket off and I left. I was very close to that. It seriously was. And my dad told me there's 5 egos in the room. Don't be the 6th.
Right?
So
Did they contact you?
I applied
Did apply.
2 times. They didn't even look at it.
How did you apply?
Online. I applied like everyone else. Just I filled out the information, and then they saw something on Urban Daddy. We had a promotion, and he thought it was a great idea. And so the producer contacted me, and that was how I got it. So now I'm on here.
Mark never said exactly. Something new every day. Oh my goodness.
Okay, after this we're on.
Okay.
Any questions while we wait?
Were you able to make any connections with business-wise, despite the fact that it wasn't as successful as you thought it would be?
Yeah, I actually became friends with everyone on my show because when it didn't air, I was the most, I went right away and I contacted all of them. Hey guys, do you have any updates? Because I knew they got deals. Because it aired in Canada and I got a copy off a torrent before ABC took it down. So I was one of the few episodes to actually see yourself before you actually air because of the technicality of it airing in Canada. But I became friends with a bunch of these people on the show. And there's another gentleman who, Corduroys, on a different episode, became friendly with him from being part of we taped together, so we just stayed in touch. So yeah, so from the experience, some good contact so far, and I'm sure it'll continue since I have people contacting me for the 5th season, asking questions. Some of them have services, and I'm relevant for them because it's not a product. So, it's just interesting how you're a resource. I'm sure, they reach out to you. I'm sure not everyone wants to continue to talk about it, but for right now, I'm only 3 weeks out. I'm okay, for that.
Which of the personalities did you respond to best?
I was hoping Mark Cuban, he was my fraternity, but that didn't work. I would say who I liked the best was Robert. Robert was the most intelligent. He had a lot of great stuff that didn't air, that he was the one that got it, and he was the one that I think was going to invest if I said maybe a few different things, I guess. They had an issue with how we were presenting it, so who knows, if we went a different angle, maybe they would have jumped on it and invested the $100,000 for 10%, which is what we asked.
Was there a question that you weren't prepared for? Something that they asked that you never thought in a million years they would have?
No, I was pretty anal about preparing. I was expecting them to hit me with every angle, so I was ready for every one. The only thing I would say I wasn't ready for, and I've said this in a recap article, is how many times they wanted to mention FedEx and how many times they wanted to create an issue with us being a competitor of FedEx when we weren't. So I wasn't ready for them continually not to. I explained the service like 4 times, they just didn't get it, and they edited it a certain way.
Next up is Brian Altomare, whose business aims to help people with their extra baggage.
Good volume. Like that?
Oh, yeah.
Hi, my name is Brian Altamari, and I'm from New York. My company is Lugless, and I'm here asking for $100,000 for 10%.
I didn't sweat here, at least I didn't do 2 times.
Question.
Sure.
Do you think that they knew what you were going to present before you got there?
They say they don't. I don't know how much I believe, but they say they don't. So perhaps they don't. They ask very intelligent questions for not hearing about the idea prior. But from what I know, nothing. Yeah,
So people who were grilling you, that's a pre-panel, a precursor. No, when you said you had to go, you had to stand on your mark.
Yes.
So people grill you beforehand.
Just start. Yeah, the whole process for it is to get there. I had to rehearse that opening pitch. It got cut. It was even longer, and I thought better, but they cut some things out. But they want you to rehearse that part over and over again. So you do it with your producing team. So you have 2 producers every week for about 6-7 weeks. You fine-tune your pitch. You create it all yourself. They give you advice and ideas, and then you come back next week with the same pitch, and you keep doing it over the phone, and then eventually you do it in front of Skype or FaceTime or something, and you get that pitch done. And if they think you're confident enough and you have that initial pitch down, then they'll fly you out if you are a finalist, and then you have to pitch basically the size of this room, but they're all producers, and they all determine the fate, because half the people that go there, they pitch the producers and they still don't air because they got nervous in front of the producers and they didn't feel that it would be good television. There's a lot of money invested in them, even wasting time, I guess, having people on if they can't even get through the first minute 30, because it is an intimidating experience. And that second line, and I had a panic attack. I went like that, I held it in, I was like, oh shit. I just went through because I memorized it so many times.
But Brian, that was a great pitch, I thought, and one of the better ones. Did you write that yourself?
Yeah.
You have some outside?
I wrote it myself. I basically was like 3 pages long when I started, and they wanted me to just go through it. So as I did it on the phone, I could realize I couldn't get it to 1:30. So they just said they like this, they like that. So they helped me with what I was writing, but they said, you should do more of this, and come back to us next week with what you think. And then it was really our own, but they did assist in, guiding me a little bit to make sure it was TV friendly and ready.
Does the Shark see your setup before you start?
They actually, it's interesting. You go out. It's a huge, it's like I guess a huge convention center, so to speak, a huge studio that they have all these temporary walls up, and everyone's in their little black areas like curtains. And then you kind of hear people in the distance, but you don't really know what's going on. And then you walk out before you're up, and they're all there. No one, they're there talking to themselves. They don't acknowledge you. You're there with the producers, like, how does the set look, Brian? And you're just like, it's great. It's great. I love looking down with the bag and looking at Cuban and everyone going, what okay, you're like, gotta get the hell out of here. So you go back to your little area, and then from there you get brought out, and that's the only time you get to interact with them right when you go on the market.
Did they have any objection to evaluation of the company?
Our company's worth more. Mad Travelers, we do a lot more than what we put that at for everything. Obviously, luggage is just beginning, but they said they suggested the producers that this season they're not giving that many investments away. They were just being kind and helping. They said, we recommend maybe you just go smaller, just so you don't hit that roadblock. I think you have enough that you're dealing with the product and service to get that across. So I did lower what we initially had, and I made the percentage something where I thought it was reasonable and no one could bat an eye at it. Clearly, they still did, but
Well, quick clarify. When you sign to get on, you get 2% or 5%?
It depends on, I guess, they choose, depending on the product or service. That's a royalty or a percentage.
So they automatically own the thing anyway?
Well, they own it if you get on and you air. They own a small portion of the 2% or 5%.
And if you sell the company within a certain amount of time of airing,
there's stuff in there. I forget, that was a long time. And I have 4 partners, so everyone had to sign off. So that was a big thing for me. My partners are all busy doing other stuff.
They would own 5%?
And not royalties. If I had royalties, For me right now, if I turn a profit, let's say this year, they may contact me. I think it's Sony Pictures. They get their 2%. I have to send a check to them. Again, if we're profitable. If we're losing money, they don't get anything. So I think I'd rather hope for giving them the 2%. But yeah, it's interesting. I think it's a great business model for them because they have now 296 people on 2% of every one of those companies. Handful succeed. Show stops airing in 3 years. You're making money forever. It's a smart business model. I was like, wow. I actually didn't see that till after I was on. I was like,
Brian, they seem to focus a couple of them on partners. We're going after the airlines, or where are you with the hotels or anything?
Sure,
that's a great opportunity.
We're working out a deal right now with a high-end hotel in New York City. They're launching over on 57th and 6th, the Quinn. We're right now working on a deal to be integrated in their packages. Their rooms go from 500 to 700 a night. It's exactly what they want, which is really our service, high-end, but I wanted to pitch it differently for there. So I have the Quinn Hotel, Morgan's Hotel Group. We've been talking to them about a few different properties that they have, one in Royalton in New York City, to figure out how to promote our services to their leisure travelers. American Express, certain department, they have so many different departments, but a VIP department wants to talk January 14, 2014. They just have everything already filled for this year. We have an international travel portal that we're launching. We're going to be on their site and their booking path. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a pretty large site. Vayama.com. It's mostly international.
Yeah, because I live in Spain part of the year.
So, they do about like 350,000 unique visitors a month, 30,000 bookings, and they are excited about putting us in that path. So who knows, for us, 10 orders a week is well worth that partnership at this stage for us. And then a few other hotel chains. Starwood we're speaking with, global partnerships, but that's going to take forever.
Did you change their prices for taking on there?
No, for who?
You're taking partnerships.
Yes, for that it's different. What the Quinn, for example, they only want overnight. So I got our rates. We get really good rates because of Box My Dorm. It's been around since 2005, so we're kind of grandfathered in with UPS and DHL. So we are doing only overnight shipping for luggage for the Quinn. For example, it's $99 to carry on anywhere in the U.S. It's $159 for a standard bag overnight, and it's $199 for an oversized. So they don't get the $39, $59, and we'll work out a deal with them on a commission and still, makes us money. More importantly, the Quinn is it's basically a guinea pig for them and for us because it'll be the first hotel in the world to fully integrate luggage shipping into their booking path and into their process of concierge services. So we're hoping to leverage that, and they also have 40 properties worldwide. So if this one works, who cares if we make $2 on it? The next one will maybe make a little bit more profit depending on where it's located.
Another question, Patrick.
Your story. Do you think that was what attracted them to? I mean, it's like it's quite a story. Some of us have been there also, and you described your appearance on Shark Tank as a Hail Mary
for our business.
For your business, do you think that the other contestants and applicants and of the 30,000 people who apply, do you think they're in this similar situation as well?
I think a lot of them. I guess it all depends, but I do think when I've watched all the episodes that I've seen and some of the guys that I'm speaking to that have been on the show are going to be, a lot of them are just starting out. That's what they like about it. None of them are
Right.
So I had one LLC that wanted me to splice the LLC off, but we couldn't because of legal issues. So we had to clump all of our services together just to make it easy. But I do think that that a lot of the companies are just starting out, and for them, it's a great opportunity. And 2%, it's not a big deal, I guess. When they look at it, if they just appear and don't take a deal. But I do think they take a lot of those percentages from the young startups because they can.
Yeah, how do you said you had like 4 partners.
Yeah.
How do you determine who to bring on and how do you negotiate their share of the business?
Sure, I think what's worked for us is 2 of the founding partners are from Box My Dorm, Dan and Joe. They both have full-time jobs now, but one's a programmer, the other's a developer and designer. So they kind of run the nuts and bolts of it, so they're in it for the long haul. So they kind of fulfill all the needs that I need to get done. So they were on from the beginning. There's myself and then the other partner, Ben, who also has a full-time job in social media, a few different startups. He was the initial investor. So he's the one that gave me the first 10. So I'm totally fine with it. The last one we have in is an older gentleman. He runs a logistics company out of Philly. He has the most piece of the pie, and he's pretty much a silent partner at this point. I think he's his $200,000 that he's invested over the past 3 years has not been a disappointment, but I'm sure he was hoping for a bigger return. So I think he's just out of it. He's got enough money not to worry, but we talk to him occasionally, but he's kind of silent. And Ben, Joe, and Dan are all around my age, 30 to 27. They all contribute in some fashion or another. So we're all kind of equal partners in that regards. We all are active in trying to help. And I'm just the one that gets paid to run the day-to-day, handle all the bullshit that most people don't want to deal with. So it's kind of a trade-off, and we all win.
So to that point, Brian, because I think a lot of times I see with startups and entrepreneurs is not necessarily having a full pie. So is there a slice that's still missing, or is there a slice that you wish you could focus on more?
How so? From
Well, skill set, or dealing with day-to-day BS. Do you wish you had a COO?
Yeah, exactly.
Or do you want to be selling all the time?
No, exactly. I want to be selling, and I want to not have to deal with the customers because they are very difficult at times, and it's just me, so I have to pretty much cater to a lot. But I would say, yeah, we have a COO potentially that's going to sign on that Ben has brought because he's working with other companies that he's currently on. So we hope to have a COO in here to help manage the finances and let me manage the customer service for now, at least to make sure the quality control, the packets get out, everything's correct, and then let me work with the team to sell to some of these partnerships so I can kind of relax and remove myself from the day-to-day, which is kind of what's going on here. I've taken a phone call for a customer, putting them on hold, getting their answer, hanging up, partner calls, I have a 10:30 call, I'm speaking with them about how great we're doing and how we're expanding, and then it just keeps going back and forth like that. So for me, it's definitely, it has its shelf life. I can't, do this forever. But right now, I'm willing to spend another 4 or 5 weeks till we get sales to keep increasing. I mean, we doubled from last week, and we should see a little over 30,000 this month again. So we're back to what we were before the show 7 months ago with a lot less expenses. So hopefully now we can start profiting before we're
I think what's great is you also pointed out, you're moving to Pennsylvania. You're recognizing that all your operations don't have to be here in New York.
I mean, if I had my cell phone on, my Ring Central, I take calls all the time on my cell phone. They don't know the wiser. How are you? This is Brian. How can I help you? I can answer any question without being in front of a computer. Because most of them are simple questions at this point because I know exactly what they're going to ask. And if I don't, it's pretty easy to just kind of here's the ballpark. So yeah, I can do this from anywhere, and that's for me me the only benefit of being in New York, and I'm glad my couple partners are still here, is office space. When I have to have those big meetings and we have to have that prestigious New York address, it's nice to have it. But I love the fact that I think we estimate $36,000 we can save by keeping the operation up in the Poconos in a small town, which for me, it's great. I get paid less, but my my expenses go down, so it kind of equals out.
Yeah, the shop. It seems that they're looking for stories that are like people that are rough it, down and out.
And that's a good point. And that's one of the things that I got offended with, and that's just my 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 personal issue. I thought that I had a wonderful story, and I thought that they would embrace it. I thought they'd love that I failed and that I lost everything, that I had credit card debt, that I moved away to the country to figure it out, came back and succeeded. I don't know why I was on. I have a feeling it's a combination of, just being honest, I think a combination is advertising for them. I think FedEx, that major area, maybe that filled a need. Great, so that plugged something. We got benefit from there. They got benefit from there. And I think my personal story, I do think that I was expecting them to embrace it more. They actually, what didn't edit, they attacked it a little bit more than I wanted, and that's where I started to sweat, because in the business, I don't care to talk about it. It's when they started to hit me personally, and I went, whoa. I thought I was here to actually make the American public realize that just because you fail, you can succeed. That was not what I experienced. So for me, that was a shock. But I do think that they have people on for many different reasons. Quirky, good speaker, great idea, company that maybe they can get advertising off of because it's in a certain area for them, because I think that's a big portion. I think every episode, $1 to $2 million is advertising attached to it. So I think
they got FedEx commercial.
I don't. Yeah, exactly. They didn't have that. I'm glad, but I think maybe it's ABC. It definitely was in my mind. Again, I can't prove any of it, but it makes sense to me because I've heard that from other people where like T-Mobile was pushed and a couple of others where you're like, huh, interesting. I forget what they call it. It's a certain term when it's product placement, but it's done. It's a certain way they explain it. I think that was what we were going for. Because Lugless, as you may have seen, one time we got mentioned. I got ahead my logo. FedEx was 5 or 6. So
in the backflip, yeah. Question.
Not UPS.
Not yet, just FedEx. I don't know. They UPS, nothing else.
A few years back, how did you come up with the idea and then approach Box My Dorm and the other companies?
Sure. I was in the college shipping space with Mad Packers. I was actually one of the largest companies, and they looked up to me prior to the 2008 fall of that company, part of a public company. So they already met me, and they loved what I was doing, and they thought this would be a good partnership. Then when I explained what we were doing with Mad Travelers and the Lugless opportunity, I wined and dined them. And I was actually in a good position because they were just as hungry, because they were actually, unbeknownst to me, it couldn't keep up with the seasonal business of storage. They didn't want to do it. So this was a great fit to lure someone else in, this guy, to run more of the operation so they could remove themselves and go on to different careers. So I think it was a marriage, that just made sense based on where they were at, where I didn't know. And I did sell them a great dream of what we could do with all of these services. So I think it was a combination of just those two aspects made this work for them. We transferred ownership for $1.
How
So we
long?
didn't get any money from them, we just partnered.
How long did it take them to agree?
I would say I was still at the cabin working at the hotel. So I was calling them with spotty cell phone service trying to pitch them. 2 months. I met them in the city, and I think we all got a couple tips on us, and I think from there it was made sense, and they liked the idea of what it potentially could be. And so far it's worked out for all of us.
So you've done this for about 10 years now.
Yeah,
8
but then
years.
this concept of logistics for 10, and then the 2 years for the internet marketing.
So what's been the hardest thing about all of this? Like maybe a moment that you're just like, what the hell am I doing? Like kind
Sure.
of thing. Moving from place personally, professionally.
Yeah, I would say that I'm at the end where I need to leverage all of this, and this is, if I can't make this work, this experience plus everything else, my resume looks pretty good at this point. I want a job that's stable. I would say seeing everyone get married, have kids, not that I want one, but either, but it's interesting to see stability happen, and for me, I'm still in this, glorious entrepreneurship, which I think it's nothing but just, it's a certain personality depending on what business you're in, and for me, this should have been given up probably 6-7 years ago. But for me, it's that I don't have the stability, and I keep going back and forth. I have no money. I had money, then it gets taken away through different things that happen through the company. I mean, I put my last 1,000 on a video. It's just, I think it's that. It's not having any stability, and hopefully this will be profitable so I can have more of a normal day-to-day that's not juggling 1,000 things, trying to keep the front up, because a lot of this is really keeping the front up and no one really knows, but it's still a great service. I can still ship bags anywhere in the world, and we do it great each day, but it's a one-man shop right now. I'm hoping to expand so I can get some of that stability I see on my friends' Facebook feeds.
In the back, there's a gentleman who's been waiting patiently.
Just a quick question. So, when you're on the show, did they give any off-camera advice or suggestion? So, if you were to make XYZ improvements, that they would be interested for a follow-up or just to listen again?
Before going on?
No, after.
After, no. They basically, it's actually pretty terrifying. You're on.
You're dead to them?
You're dead to them, yeah, basically. I was mad. I was cursing to myself. As I was leaving, I was angry at all of them for my 45 minutes, which I won't discuss how I thought it went. And I'm a perfectionist, so I was pissed. So I was just yelling, going, this is ridiculous. and they have to have a psychiatrist before the show and after, sit with you, every contestant. So I before I was like, yeah, this could go either way, it's all good, it's good to be on the show, you know, how bad could it be? Afterwards, I was like, what? I go, did you sign up? I didn't sign up for this. She's like, I was in the room, it sounded okay. I go, did you see me sweating? They had to stop and they let me do this. And Mark was not happy. He's like, isn't this what the show's about? And I was like, oh, no, please no. So I was allowed to dab my thing whenever.
How far into your pitch did it come to where they were saying around? You know, like, because we get that time shift there.
Yeah, it was probably at 44 minutes. There was a lot in there. There was a lot of conversations.
So you were hoping for 43 minutes that you might have had a deal.
Oh yeah, despite
and then just all of a sudden it was over.
Yeah, and at the end, one by one, they kind of went out, and I was like, oh, this is fascinating. I was so embarrassed. I was like, I told all my friends, and basically I was like, I'm not talking about the show if it airs. I was sweating. I think they made fun of me personally, so I didn't tell anyone. And then when I got to see I was in Detroit working for NBC. I got a job doing logistics for Education Nation for it. Just got off of it. So I was working. I left this behind. I gave up. I told my partners, I forgot to tell that part. I left. I said, done guys, you want to help? I did the show. They said it's not going to air because it didn't have enough drama. So right now, you can't pay me. We have no money. It sits, and they were like, all right. So we did like 1,000 orders a month where it just went automated because our system was automated. You didn't need someone. We didn't send out the packet. So then I was in Detroit, and I got a random email after all my guys from NBC left in Detroit, and I was kind of like, you know, a little down and out. It was nice being with like 15 different people who were working on this gig for a couple weeks. And then I got this email from ABC that says, your episode is 423. No name, nothing. And I was like, what? So is this me? So I had to confirm, found that it was. And then I was so terrified. I had like, I think 2 weeks of just panic attacks. I thought what was gonna air was gonna ruin my career. And I was angry. And I was so embarrassed. And I was like, this is a huge blow to me. And then I got to see the Canada one. And then from there, I lit it up. I was like, yeah, looks good. Yeah, I'm going to be on, April 19th. After it was there, then May, I guess, 17th. So I kept promoting it after. But,
in your pitch, you were saying you had a proprietary shipping system.
Yeah.
You do.
We do. Our system.
Did they go into that deeper?
No, it was they cut me off there. I said FedEx, and I had a bunch of 1, 2, 3s. They didn't
because it went really quickly.
They got the soundbite. I was going to correct Robert, but I was too nervous. It's actually 39.2 billion. It's not 40 billion. But once they said that, I knew. I was like,
but is it
no ego? Let's just get through this.
Is it a protectable thing? Is it something that you protect, or it's just a secret?
It's just for us. It's Joe and Dan. They've created a system through Oxford. It allows us to sync up. It's nothing probably too crazy, but for us, I call it proprietary because it looks great. But it takes cost.
You should get a patent on Joe and Dan.
It would cost if you did it on the open market. It would cost $200,000 for real. If you had to hire these guys to figure out how this all syncs. I mean, you can sign up an order now without anyone in there. It gets processed to Lithuania.
Right.
No one has to touch it. No one has to talk to you. It's done, and it's half the price of DHL. So that's for me what I think is cool about it. It's the same exact service, just easier and simpler to sign up. So that's kind of part of the proprietary is how easy it is.
Why logistics? What's appealing to you?
I don't know. Jeez, awful at this point. I think it's the hardest thing ever. It's logistics. I think for me, it's changing the way people travel, and I think there is an issue with travel these days, especially not just in the college space, but for people schlepping their bags back and forth and now paying $20 to $100. I just think it's anti everything I stand for, so I want to give those people that aren't just wealthy, average travelers, a bag that's $39 that they can have picked up at their home, have a white glove service, and sent to their end destination, and allow them with their kids or themselves to enjoy their travel experience while the airlines continue to nickel and dime them because it's not going to stop. So for me, I think it's what it could be. It's logistics, but I think it's changing the way people travel. And I see one day, if not me, someone, bags won't be in the airport. And if they are, they'll be heavily taxed and charged for it. Everyone will be sending it a day ahead of time, and it'll all be overnight. We're just not there. For me, it's waiting until that happens. So I think changing the way people travel is for me.
The guy at the ER today was talking about everything that's wrong with the airline, so maybe help you out.
Yeah, I hope a lot of this. Yeah, people really do contact. Like, oh, just check this out. Yeah.
Just a few more questions. Patrick.
Yeah, well, just to dovetail on what he was saying is that on one hand, you went on the show and they kept on bringing up the issue of competitors, and by your own admission, you don't own anything protectable you call it proprietary, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
in the sales brochure. The truth is you don't actually own any intellectual property.
Sure.
And so how does that, what do you do with that feedback?
Sure, I think the difference, I hear you. I think more importantly is what didn't make it. I said 5 times to them that we're not competitive with FedEx. They actually are happy that companies like us exist. We're one of many that are out there because we take the customer service away.
You're not answering my question. My question is, they've given you the feedback that you are copyable.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know we are.
Okay,
yeah.
then why continue?
Well, because I know how hard the nightmare what I do is, and I know that good luck trying to do it and ruin your life. It's been
but if it's a
short of-
larger company, it wouldn't ruin their life at all.
Exactly. I don't think that shipping companies are already doing shipping and luggage shipping. They're just not branding this a certain way. So I would say, for me, it's possible that someone could come in here and say, we're already a $1 billion company, let's just do luggage shipping and open it up.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it for 10, 12 years. I see the competitors that are the industry leaders, and they're still holding strong at $4 million a year in sales. I still think, even if FedEx does probably, I forgot the number, I think they do over $50 million in luggage shipping. They advertise it, but they don't make it their whole business model because there are other companies that are generating alongside them this luggage shipping industry, which I think for me is a strength. So I don't think they'd ever come in and completely knock it down unless they saw a huge opportunity to cut everyone out of the space. I just don't think they'd want to do that because I also know shipping luggage is different than shipping a box. They're very, very inquisitive about where their personal belongings are. And I think that customer service costs for these larger companies like UPS and FedEx, I know that's an issue because for us, it's a hard battle to even service them and have them trust us with their bags, even though we are using UPS. For me, I think it's more the emotional side of the service and how difficult it is to explain to the customer. It's not the same as, like, people still call, we don't get how you work. Do you use FedEx? It's kind of like that. However, or UPS. We're just this plus another layer of local.
So nothing of what they said that your business model is copyable, you don't know anything, dissuaded you?
Not at all. I could care less. I see this space. I've seen it in the past year. 7 companies have done luggage shipping. There's small mom and pops that have one little contract with, let's say, a golf course, and they're happy to survive, and they use that. And I just see this industry it's like a cottage industry. There's so many all over the place. I think what's going to happen is someone needs to come in, if not me, someone we get to bring to the table to scoop up all these little guys and make one big luggage shipping company that changes the way across the board, different brands, different pricing, but makes it a little bit more homogenous and better branded. So I think that's the play, is someone coming in, letting companies like us survive because we already have the SEO value, we already have the customer base. So just buy into it and literally,
or just launch it and watch you die.
What's up?
Just launch it and watch you die.
Yeah,
SEO value changes over time.
They could. I mean, if we've come in, the companies that have been in this space, we've taken away a bunch of their market share. They're scared.
Right.
And we're small, and I love it. That's what excites me.
All
So
right.
you're right, though. I think,
Thanks, bro.
yeah, from a business standpoint, anyone could do it. I just know what's coming, what goes into all of this. So I'm not scared right now. Maybe in 5 years I would be, but I don't think anyone's ready to just do luggage shipping. That's a large company, but I could be wrong.
Brian, right here in the front.
Yeah, you've been talking about running out of money several times. How do you feel about crowdfunding?
I like it.
Have you tried it?
No, we were almost thinking about it through Ben, another partner, to consider it for the kind of company that we're trying to build. So it's something we're interested in.
As equity crowdfunding? Or
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
You said drama. They wanted more drama in the Shark Tank.
Well, that's what they said. The producer just told me that. I think they wanted more. They wanted me to fight against them more than what I did. I did the opposite. I just said, okay, we're like FedEx. I agree. Thank you.
Vienna, out in Europe, they nickel and dime you a lot more. Like these Ryanairs and this and that, and they just scale everything like there, and they really hit you hard.
Yeah.
So the nickel and dime is like kind of at another level out there. That's probably why they'd be interested.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see. I'm hopeful for it. It's just, again, it's a step in the right direction. Travelocities and all that, I think we'll be ready for eventually, not now, but that's my hope, is that we can get inside those type of forums.
Can you recap that phone call you got, the first phone call from the Shark Tank casting?
Oh, it was just a message. Hey, Brian, congratulations.
But the first one, when you actually got to communicate with them, what did they ask? What was the conversation like?
That's a good question. What was that first call? I was in Brooklyn walking to lunch. They left the message. I forgot her name. I called her back. She congratulated me about being a semi-finalist, but make sure you realize that this doesn't mean anything, that you could be canceled at any point. They would say that legally. And from there, they said you'll be in touch with your two producing teams, their names, Ian and whatever, and they're going to be following up with you later this week, and you're going to get going with, working with them to craft your pitch and get ready for the show.
But really, they didn't ask any questions at that point?
The only thing I forgot about this. There was a holdup for about 3 weeks. I lived in Prague, but the school I taught at went out of business. ABC wanted to make sure, they said legally that I didn't do anything bad over there. And I said, like, what? And they were like, like murder someone. I'm like, oh, okay. So I contacted the school, and the school's, it's in Prague. They said, it took me so long to translate with them because some of them were broken English. They didn't have the head office there, the person that was fluent in English.
Does that mean you didn't do a good job?
No, I did great. They said they destroyed all their records. So that was the only thing that I wasn't going to be on the show. They told me, we can't accept you if we don't get this record. I was like, okay. The company went not out of business, but they destroyed their records. What do you want to do? So eventually they called back and they said, don't worry about it. We've solved it legally on our side. I was like, great, thanks.
So Brian, we've gone through our time. Really appreciate the honesty. I have one question.
Sure.
You came here, you're really open with everyone. I hope everyone has learned some valuable lessons, but is there anything we can do to help you right now?
Definitely. I mean, if you have anyone young, old, that you think might like luggage shipping and want to quick door service, please pass them our way. More than happy to give them the friends and family discount.
Or introductions to hotels and airlines.
Hotels, airlines, investors. We're right now we're definitely in need of some support. We have a great idea, a great blueprint, a great service, a great system, and a great brand. We now need help getting to the next level because I do think we're close to that.
How do we get a hold of you?
Brian at madtravelers.com.
And you have some brochures.
I do. I have loyalty cards that are vinyl. You can keep them, and then I have a flyer. It's Real New Yorkers Love Less. It's appropriate for here. Something we started doing last year.
Bags VIP?
Yeah, no, they're different. They're in the airports, and they don't do door to door. They do pick it up from you have to drop it off in the front, and then they'll deliver it on the other end that day later. But there's all these little interesting things that I learned about them. But they are in existence. I'm sure they do more than we do.
They're on American Airlines. I just got their site.
Yeah, they're not door to door. It's different.
Yeah.
One of the things is they have it's like a 25-mile radius. So if you're outside the airport by 25, there's an extra fee. So it adds up. But they are cheaper if you want to lug it to the airport, and then from there they'll coordinate it with a local courier. That's one of the models with Secure Wrap, which has 53 airports where they do the shrink wrap. If you've ever seen them, we're looking at a kiosk with them, very simple. That's something to get inside that bag's VIP market, for us at least.
You contacted AARP.
They think AARP thinks, and we laugh because we give out an AARP discount after 2 years. I've talked to everyone there. They think this isn't relevant for their audience, and we laugh. We laugh every time. So I think this lady who works in partnerships, I got to supersede her, but I haven't gotten to that level.
The size pricing, but what about the things 300 pounds?
Yeah, typically you can't ship it more than whatever FedEx and UPS allows. So most of the bags are 25 for carry-on, 50 for standard, and 70 to 75 for an oversized. If it's too much, then that I don't want to take it, and I know something's going to go wrong. So find someone else. We want to just stay simple, and just do what we know most people ship, which is the standard bags, golf clubs, skis, baby characters.
Keep the weight down. And
under 70, and we're happy because we don't have to go freight.
So I know Brian is going to stick around. He's going to be here for our pitching panel. Everyone would like us to thank Brian. Great presentation.